tell the story of glory of Pennsylvania. Drink a highball and be jolly. Here's a toast to dear old Penn. I know you're all here to have lots and lots of fun. And by God, you deserve that. You've earned it. But I just want to say that it is so incredibly inspiring to me to see not only how well you have lived your lives, but how well you're living your lives. You know, we're living in a world in which there are going to be so many challenges for people of quote unquote retirement age. You know, you just think about the challenges of healthcare, of getting enough returns out of your retirement accounts to live well. You're an inspiration to us all, because I think we're all going to be in a place where there are going to be multiple acts to our lives. And the notion that full-time employment is the end of full-time employment is the end of life, God, that's wrong. And you show us that. So you're an inspiration. So I want you to have enormous party time on campus, because we're all rooting for you, and I can't wait to join you, I have to say. So again, have a wonderful lunch. It's great to have you back on campus.
Now I want to turn to our principal speaker, a man named Tony Gallo, who, it's kind of hard to describe him. I'm kind of stumbling here because he's done so much. Where do you start and where do you finish? Let me just tell you a little bit of a biography here of this gentleman. He's a class of '63, went to William and Mary, then a Wharton graduate of '63, before that to college. Then he entered the Army. He became fluent in 3 languages at that time. Then he went working for a bank, I think it was PNC. After that, he went into education. He taught and had influence at 7 higher education institutions, colleges, universities, 7. Then he went on to be the Capitol Hill driver, a Capitol Hill Historical Preservation and Renovation Company, which is totally different again. Then in the year 2000, he took up interest in drama and journalism, and he has written 24 full-length dramas, right? And I'm told, and I've got to catch up to these dramas, that one of his key messages is be very positive so you can bring about good change, positive change. I mean, there's a theme there. That's a good one. He's a member of the National Press Club. He and I just talked about that. He's been seen on C-SPAN regularly. And get this is what he now does. And has done in the past, but continues in this vein. He's a playwright, he's a lyricist, he's a writer, he's a director, he's a producer, he's a screenwriter, he's a publisher, and he's a theater owner. I mean, I feel kind of shallow here talking about him, but hats off, Mr. Gallo. So I think without further ado, I want to bring him up and see what he has to say for himself. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony Gallo. With that tremendously wonderful introduction, I really don't need one. But the title of my keynote address, and I thank you profusely for asking me, I am deeply, deeply honored. And when in Washington, D.C., I tell them I'm speaking before the Wharton Graduate Emeritus Society, I hear the same thing all over again. Oh my God. We know that Wharton strikes a bell. It happened to me on Thursday, by the way. My car has a license plate rim around it that says Wharton. And I came out of the car, and this man stopped me, and he said, "Did you go to Wharton?" I said, "Yes." He said, "May I touch you?" I said, "Yes, I love to be touched." And so that is what I'm here to talk about. The Wharton School playwright. My friends and colleagues have all told me the same thing. Please remind these people that you don't have a few missing marbles. The Wharton School playwright. That's like speaking of the Juilliard hedge fund manager. But I have been a playwright, and I had no intentions of going into show business. That was the last thing on my mind. come a certain time and you think what you want to do with the rest of your life, you can do. From what I've spoken, I speak my friend Bob Crawford, my classmate here today, you can continue doing the same thing, you can do something totally different, or you can do nothing. Like my boss, who really had an influence on me, he said, I want to do nothing the rest of my life except get on a boat or a yacht, and this is what he's done, and perfectly happy. I was very much influenced by my very good friend, a name you may no longer recall, but his name is Dr. Herbert Stein. He was President Nixon's chief economist. He was the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, and he was also chair of my book discussion group. And he says, Tony, we economists have to take our lives and do something totally different with it. His last part of his life was essentially in philosophy and literature. And so here is where I got the idea. And after much introspection, and I'm sharing, I hate to use the term I decided to go into religion. And what is that all about? I was not Mr. Religion until 1979, 40 years ago. I took a purely secular trip to Israel. And in the hills of Samaria, I had a religious experience. And I have read the Bible every day since. And consequently, since the Hebrews write the best tragedy and comedy in that book called the Bible, and believe me, I consider two types of people: those who say the Bible is the greatest book ever written, and my good friends and colleagues who say it's the best book of fiction ever written. Either one is acceptable to me. And with that, I became a religious playwright, and I took the right road. I took 120 credits of workshops, more courses than for my undergraduate school, and twice as many as Wharton, and decided to go into this full time, not as a hobby. I play bridge, and we do ballroom dancing, and until the last 3 years, extensive travel, but my career is playwriting. Now, Wharton has been with me every step of the way. It was enumerated how many careers I've had. Wharton has been behind it all. I started off as an investment analyst at a little bank in Pittsburgh called the Pittsburgh National Bank, now the great big PNC. And from there, I went into retail banking. There it was Wharton. And as soon as you mentioned Wharton, oh my God. And I always used it like a tool. I presume you've done the same thing. We owe this school a whole lot. And then I worked towards a PhD, didn't get it, and became a federal research economist, again Wharton. Then I started my own company, Victorian Properties on Capitol Hill, because I'm very much into historic preservation. Again, it's all that good stuff we learned at Wharton. I thought it was the end of it when I became a playwright. And I have gone on to write not 44, but 24 plays, 6 musicals. We've done some motion pictures with my motion picture company, but they're all pretty bad. My plays are pretty good. But it took me a while to learn that I had to go back to the Wharton thing. And those were letters of rejection that my plays received. And I still cite all types of statistics. The possibility of having a play produced as you've written is by my calculations, 1.5 million. It's easy to come by. I'm very active in the Dramatists Guild of America. They will be the first to tell you that there are 25,000 playwrights, full-time playwrights such as myself, part-time many more. Doley, the international agency, claims there are 100,000. And there are only 1,000 new plays performed every year. So the possibility is zilch. After you wait months and months and all you get is a letter of rejection, I said, that's it. I'm starting my own theater. And there was no way I would be rejected. And I'm following the footsteps of a well-known English playwright named Willie Shakespeare. He had his own theater. I'm also following the footsteps of Mary Pickford. She started her own motion picture company. Following all those movie stars they've stopped because the economics has changed. The outcome of all this, and I had to learn the hard way, is that I've had 160 productions, which is pretty good. And they've been performed in 45 venues, the National Press Club, the State Department, 5 theaters in Washington. Every year we perform at the Kennedy Center for the Page to Stage Festival. This year, 3 of my plays will be performed there, including a rehash of my first musical. The first musical, a redux. And so it continues. In addition to that, I've seen how difficult it is to publish, so using good Wharton principles, I started Brown's Court Publishing Company. My office is on Brown's Court, and the Motion Picture Company, the webpage, and so on. It's all there. Now, I call myself a religious... Helen, how much time do I have? What? 4 minutes? 4 minutes. Thank you. Most people, thank God, most people who see my plays say, where is the religion? That's what it was meant to be. I am a Judeo-Christian playwright, very mindful of what we owe Judaism. 2 of my plays are Holocaust plays, 17 are Americana plays, 4 are theological plays, and 4 are biblical plays. And by the way, a religious playwright is not that much of a screwball. Probably your favorite playwright calls himself a religious playwright, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I mean, take a look at his plays. Not only Jesus Christ Superstar, Cats, based on T.S. Eliot, probably the most religious poet we've ever had. What are the other ones? Phantom of the Opera. What are the other ones? I'm having a senior moment. Joseph and his Technicolor coat. So so I continue there. It has been a very grateful career. As I go into my 80th year, 1/4 of my life has been spent as a playwright, 40 years as an economist. I'm including my freshman year in undergraduate school, and of course the wonderful Wharton experience. So, I mean, it's 40 years and 20 years, and I guess the first 18 or 19 years don't count. I am very grateful to you. I am very grateful to the Wharton School. I owe the school a lot of gratitude. I owe you a lot of gratitude for having me here today. And if any of you have any questions, see me later. And I just wanted to say that the rest of this year, we have a very full schedule. Oh, I have to mention one thing, Helen. And that is that the play I'm working on 3 plays currently. That's the way I work. One of them is a play written about one of our founders, the most underappreciated founding father. His name is Robert Morris. His brother-in-law was the first president of our university. He was also the first Episcopal bishop in the United States. He was an Anglican bishop and the finest family in Washington, and Robert Morris, the richest man in North America, married his sister. Anyhow, they're speaking of the College of Philadelphia, which is what we used to be, and I feel very honored. And that is being done very much at the instigation of one of our classmates from Wharton, Robert Schwartz, who is either a literal or a lateral descendant, some type of association there. And with that, I look forward to my 80th year, and I spent 1/3 of my life with my education, including that of Wharton, the 2/3 of my life in my 2nd, 3rd career, and if I live 10 more years, the last 1/3 of my life as a playwright, and I love being the Wharton School playwright. Thank you.
My name is Carl Schaefer, and I have a few notes here to bore you with. I say hello to everybody, and there are not too many of us who were part of the Emeritus Society that were still standing, who were there at the 2010 Luncheon when our longtime chairman, Jack Smith, stood at this podium and introduced the keynote speaker, a guy named Bob Crandall. Anybody ever heard of Bob Crandall? A lot of people, right? Well, all I knew about him, I'd never heard of him, was that he was Wharton graduate, the class of 60, back for his 50th reunion. And he turns out to be quite a guy. As those of you who raised your hand probably know, he was erstwhile chairman of American Airlines. He was the all-time author of Frequent Flyer Miles, and American Airlines was very, very successful under his watch. We've all heard of 60 being the new 40. Well, Bob was 70, maybe 75, being the new 40. I mean, the guy looked so young you could hardly believe it, and he was just dynamic. And the speech that he gave at that 2010 reunion, he called for a geezer's crusade for Wharton graduate. No more tending to our own garden, no more sailing into the sunset, like your boss, Tony. Use your Wharton graduate and undergraduate educations to care about our communities, to care about our society, to care about our country, hence the Crandall citations that we present today. The recipients have been picked from a large number of submissions screened by our hard-charging Crandall Committee, originated by Kevin Wolfline, the class of 58, chaired this year by Myron Weiner, the class of 51. The members were Tom Vincent, the class of 56, and Jack Smith, the class of 52. And John Hendricks, the class of 66, who's here today. And John, could you stand and take a bow for the whole committee? The first citation goes to Richard Tecca, Wharton graduate, the class of 58. I guess we all, or at least I, think of Wharton graduate only in a business context, although after your speech, Tony, I don't think that I should think that way. Certainly Richard Tecca thought of business, but he also, more than that, cared about music. First here in Philadelphia, where he organized and directed the 70-voice collegiate choir at the Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul. Later in his career, he founded the Hartford Chorale, which presents masterpieces of great chorale art on a symphonic scale all over southern New England, and was active in the Connecticut Gilbert and Sullivan Society. As a member of the board, he ran their marketing program, and every year he acted on stage. Unhappily, Richard could not be with us today, but all is not lost, as Helen Formanez is here to accept for him and will carry the Crandall certificate to him in Hebron, Connecticut. Helen, could you come up, please? Oh, there you are. Oh, isn't this wonderful? And now that we have Helen up here, Helen is very demure, and she's shy, and she doesn't want to have attention brought to her, but that's too bad, Helen. I'm awfully sorry. I've got to tell you that Helen is the Emeritus Society's window to Wharton, and she will be happy to help you in any way, answer your questions, and help in any way that she can. And Helen, how is everybody going to be able to get in touch with you?
You can take a look at the Emeritus website. My contact information is there.
Wonderful. So you'll take that one with you then. Okay, good. All right. Happily, our second Crandall recipient is here with us today. And I really don't have anything to say about him at all. It has all been said in our Emeritus Society newsletter, which all of you should have received by email late last week. Did anybody receive that email? Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, look for that in your email. Maybe we should do something about that. Anyway, also he's been mentioned a little bit here today. He does not know about this award. At least I hope he doesn't. It is meant to be a surprise, and so it gives me great pleasure to present this second Crandall citation to our speaker, Tony Gallo. Tony, could you come up?
I really can't believe this, and I am overwhelmed. May I say something?
Please.
I am so grateful to you. You know, I went into the theater. How many of you heard that the theater is an evil mother? It's one of the oldest adages, and the theater business is tough. You don't get too many rewards. This is one reward I will carry to my grave with me. Thank you so much. I loved all of you. I love Wharton. Helen, God bless you.
God bless you. Take care. Just in the nick of time, Ford. Fantastic. Our third and last award is very special. It's special to those who knew him, special to those who worked with him, special to his family. Given to Jack Smith in appreciation for all he has done for Wharton Graduate. As Thomas said, he founded Wharton Graduate Emeritus Society and served as its chairman for over 10 years. Personally, I go way back with Jack when we were both in the materials handling business. We played tennis together. We socialized with our wives and good friends. Whenever Bill Torrey, one of my Princeton roommates and Jack's junior officer on the D'Amato, a Korean War destroyer, was in town, we would all get together, and I would be bored to distraction listening to these two Navy buddies tell war stories. I'm sure none of them were true. Jack was a guy who was hard to say no to. When he put the arm on you, he twisted yours up to the shoulder. Unhappily, he's not around to ask you all to be active in the Wharton Graduate Emeritus Society. Not to worry, though, we have our fearless leader, Tom Hadlock, over here, and I'm sure he'll be in touch. Jack was fantastically loyal to Penn and to Wharton Graduate. I'm wearing this, like the Glee Club, this red and blue tie in his honor. He bled not just red, but red and blue. He cared. So happily, Ford Smith has just arrived here. Is that right, Ford? You just got here? And he's the oldest of Jack's children, and his sister Ashley is here, and I'd ask both of them to come up here and receive their father's Crandall citation, so richly deserved. So Ford, Ashley. Would you like to say? Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ashley. I just want to say my dad, Wharton and Penn, meant so much to my father. From football games as a little kid to all the way through when my son graduated from here 2 years ago and homecoming just this past fall. I have some great photographs of the game and then back up at St. A's, and he loved this place, and as my son loved this place as well, and my husband also as well. It's a great place. The Emeritus Society has done tremendous things, and it's an incredible linkage from what you've done, who you are, and what you can contribute, and what can be contributed back to you as life goes forward. So I hope everybody takes advantage of it.
Ford, would you?
I'm only going to apologize for being late. I'm not going to try and top those last remarks. Obviously, Penn was exceedingly important to my dad and our family, and it's meant a lot to him for a long, long time, and he did a lot of things at different levels, and he would love to see things continue and go forward. So thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, Ford.
Thanks.
Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Just a few parting words, or I guess we're actually going to be early, but don't forget those master classes at 3 o'clock. I want to say for the Emeritus Society, please connect with us via Facebook. My colleague there, Rick, has got us, I think you can hear me, has got us going on that, and it's a good way to communicate. We'll tell you our program. Certainly there's the website as well, but it's important that please stay with us. I want to talk to a few of you after the lunch here to see if I can recruit you, because I think we need you, but we're doing fine anyway, but we want more. So I think that's really big. Carl beat me to it, but Helen is our savior here. She's been great. We really need her. And a second vote of thanks from everybody, really. Thank you, Helen, for everything you do. You made it very special for us, this organization. So have a good day. Think Emeritus Society. Think Wharton. And have a good time.